If you're watching this video right now, it's not by accident. God Himself has led you here because there's a message you are meant to hear today, a message that can change the course of your life forever. Because you are not just another face in the crowd. You are special, chosen, and deeply loved. And right now, you are standing on the edge of a major divine shift. That before God takes you higher, He needs you to understand something powerful. Your greatest battle is not with the devil, but with the limits you've placed on yourself. Self-doubt, fear, procrastination. These are the real giants standing in your way. But hear me clearly. Those chains are about to break. God is calling you into a new season where you stop holding yourself back and start stepping fully into the destiny He has prepared for you. Your life is about to change. The shift you've been praying for is closer than you think, and it begins with the transformation inside you. Before we dive deeper into this life-changing revelation, I invite you to do 3 things. Tap that like button, help this message reach others who are ready to break free. Subscribe to this channel and be part of our mission to reach 10,000 subscribers, building a family rooted in faith, strength, and victory. Comment 66 below, a symbol of divine alignment and new beginnings. You didn't find this message by chance. God brought you here to awaken something powerful within you. Get ready. The old you is about to fall, and the true victorious you is about to rise. Today, I want to challenge a popular idea that has crippled too many destinies. We have blamed the devil long enough. We have pointed to demons, enemies, systems, and circumstances. But the truth is, your biggest enemy is not the devil. It's you. The greatest battles are not fought in heavenly places. They are fought in the arena of the mind, the heart, and the will. The enemy within, your doubts, your fears, your excuses, your undisciplined habits, is far more dangerous than any force outside. See, self-ignorance is more destructive than demonic interference. If you do not know who you are, if you do not understand why you were born, you will sabotage your own success before any enemy even lifts a finger. Identity confusion is a form of self-assassination. The greatest battle you will ever fight is internal, not external. We are often trying to bind the devil when we should be binding our laziness. We are rebuking principalities while excusing procrastination. We fast and pray against spirits, yet make peace with our own compromise. Your decisions, not your enemies, determine your destiny. Destiny is never decided by what happens to you. It is decided by what you do with what happens to you. You will never be defeated because the enemy was too strong. You will be defeated if you are too undisciplined, too distracted, or too disobedient. Mismanagement of your potential is the real tragedy. It's not the devil stealing your dreams. It's neglect. It's misused time, wasted talent, abandoned vision. You were given raw potential to develop, to manage, to multiply. And if you fail to do it, you become your own adversary. Excuses empower the enemy within. Every time you say it's too hard, it's their fault, I'm waiting on a sign, you hand over your authority. Excuses are chains that the enemy inside of you uses to keep you imprisoned. And so I say to you today, transformation begins with self-mastery, not spiritual warfare. Victory comes not from louder prayers, but from disciplined living. It's not about shouting at devils. It's about submitting your will to a vision, disciplining your mind with truth, and aligning your actions with your purpose. You are the gatekeeper of your future. You are the architect of your success or your failure. And until you confront the enemy within, every enemy outside will continue to have power over you. So today, rise up. Declare war on your laziness, your excuses, your fears, and your doubt. But conspicuously spoke His name, not just over demons, but over yourself. Because if you can conquer you, nothing and no one can stop you. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not demonic attack, it is self-ignorance. The most dangerous weapon formed against you is not external, it is internal. It is the lack of understanding of who you are, why you exist, and what you are carrying inside of you. The enemy of your soul knows that if he can keep you ignorant of your true identity and purpose, he doesn't need to fight you directly. Because simply what you destroy yourself. You were born with a deposit of divine potential. You were created to manifest something the world has never seen. Your gifts, your calling, your voice, your influence, all of it is wired into your being by design. However, without knowledge of this, you will live below your birthright. You will settle for survival when you were created for dominion. You will accept slavery to circumstances when you were designed to subdue them. Ignorance of self is not innocent, it is catastrophic. Many people spend their lives rebuking devils, resisting temptations, and engaging in endless spiritual battles, and yet remain defeated, not because the enemy is too powerful, but because they have no idea who they are. You cannot conquer what you are unaware of, and you cannot fulfill what you do not understand. The absence of self-knowledge is the silent thief that steals your potential every single day without you even noticing. Of excellency, self-ignorance blinds you to your authority. It robs you of the ability to walk with confidence. It silences your voice and causes you to accept definitions that others impose on you. When you do not know who you are, you will believe every lie that is told about you. You will accept every limitation that is placed on you. You will live like a beggar in a palace that you were meant to rule. This is why the greatest battle you must fight is not against demons in the air, but against confusion in your soul. It is possible to have great anointing and still live small if you are ignorant of yourself. It is possible to pray loudly, shout passionately, and fast for days, yet never move into your destiny if you do not awaken to your true identity. Because self-ignorance makes you your own enemy. You will sabotage your own prayers. You will destroy your own opportunities. You will mismanage your own seasons. Not because the devil overpowered you, but because you undermined yourself. Knowledge of self brings clarity. It brings discipline. It brings order. When you know who you are, you stop chasing everything that glitters. You stop reacting to every distraction. You stop accepting every invitation to mediocrity. You realize that you were sent to earth with an assignment, and everything in your life must align with that purpose. Your time, your relationship, your investments, your words, all must be governed by the truth of who you are. This is why your greatest deliverance is not deliverance from demons, it is deliverance from deception about yourself. You must wake up to your identity. You must uncover the treasure buried within you. You must embrace the responsibility that comes with being chosen, called, and gifted. Because ignorance will excuse you from your destiny, but knowledge will hold you accountable to it. Self-ignorance does not just affect you, it affects generations. When you do not know who you are, you rob your children, your community, and your world of the gift that was hidden inside you for their benefit. Your ignorance becomes a curse passed down through time. But when you awaken, when you rise into full awareness of who you are, you don't just break chains for yourself. You break chains for everyone connected to your life. The most terrifying thing to the forces of darkness is not a believer who shouts louder, it is a believer who knows who they are, because knowledge activates authority. Understanding births dominion. Identity empowers destiny. When you know who you are, you don't have to chase battles. Battles flee from you. You don't have to force influence. Influence flows from you. Today, you must make a decision. You must declare war, not on the external enemies, but on the internal ignorance that has kept you small, timid, confused, and powerless. It is time to reclaim your mind. It is time to renew your thoughts. It is time to align your life with the truth of your divine origin. Because the greatest threat to your future is not what the devil is doing, it is what you refuse to discover about yourself. Self-ignorance is not harmless, it is deadly. And until you confront it, no amount of spiritual warfare will save you. Know yourself. Embrace your calling. Step into your assignment. Because the world is waiting for the real you to appear. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not with people, not with systems, not with visible enemies. It is the battle within yourself. Long before you face opposition on the outside, you will wrestle with conflict on the inside. The mind is a battlefield. The heart is a battlefield. The will is a battlefield. What happens inside of you is far more powerful than what happens around you. The wars that take place in the realm of your thoughts, your desires, your fears, and your ambitions will determine the outcome of your life. External enemies can only defeat you if you have already been defeated internally. You see, most people are overly focused on fighting the wrong battles. They are consumed with blaming circumstances, adversaries, and visible obstacles. They point to every external reason for why they cannot rise, why they cannot achieve, why they cannot move forward. But the truth is, before any circumstance can defeat you, something inside you must surrender first. Failure is not birthed by external pressure. It is birthed by internal collapse. It is when the mind gives up. It is when the heart becomes weary. It is when faith crumbles and courage dies quietly inside. The greatest wars are invisible, and they are fought every day in the silent chambers of the soul. It is easier to blame what is outside than to confront what is inside. It is easier to point at enemies than to face our own doubts, our own fears, our own indiscipline. But true victory in life does not come from fighting everything outside of you. It comes from mastering everything inside of you. If you conquer within, you can conquer without. If you win the battle inside your mind, no external force can enslave you. If you win the battle inside your spirit, no setback can stop you. Real power is not the absence of opposition, it is the mastery of self in the face of opposition. The internal battle is fought every time you are tempted to believe that you are not enough. It is fought every time you are tempted to quit, to lower your standards, to give in to fear, to compromise your values. The external challenges only reveal the strength or weakness of your internal condition. Pressure does not create character, it exposes it. Crisis does not create strength, it reveals it. Hard times are not the cause of defeat, they are simply the stage where the internal battle becomes visible. You cannot escape the responsibility of fighting within. You cannot pray away the need to discipline your mind. You cannot fast away the necessity of mastering your emotions. You must do the hard work of confronting your own limitations, your own excuses, your own rebellion. You must wrestle your will into submission to purpose. You must take authority over your own thoughts. You must govern your own heart with truth. No one else can fight this battle for you. You can have mentors, you can have encouragement, you can have support, but ultimately you must fight the battle within yourself. This is why many people stay stuck even when opportunities come. It is not because the opportunities were fake. It is because the internal man was not ready to seize them. It is not enough to be positioned externally if you are weak internally. Promotion will only expose the gaps in your soul. Influence will only magnify the fractures in your character. Leadership will only reveal the areas where you have not yet won the internal war. To go higher, you must first go deeper. Deeper into self-awareness, deeper into discipline, deeper into vision and purpose. The internal battle is not won once. It is a daily fight. Every morning you must decide who will rule your life. Fear or faith, purpose or pleasure, discipline or desire. Every decision is a small battle, and the accumulation of those decisions becomes the war for your destiny. You win or lose not in the public eye, but in the private chambers where no one else sees. It is there, in the hidden places of your heart, that greatness is forged or forfeited. Your greatest enemy is not outside of you. It is the undisciplined mind, the ungoverned appetite, the uncontrolled emotion. If you can conquer yourself, you can conquer the world. If you can silence the doubts within, no criticism outside will matter. If you can master your inner world, you will have the strength to shape the outer world. The greatest battle is internal, not external. And until you rise up and confront the enemy within, you will continue to be defeated by the circumstances outside. But if you fight and win the internal war, there will be no force on earth that can keep you from fulfilling your destiny. Your life is not ultimately shaped by the enemies that come against you, but by the choices you make every single day. Your destiny is not held hostage by external forces. It is held in your own hands, molded by your decisions, sculpted by your actions. What happens to you is never as powerful as what you choose to do in response. It is not the attacks, the betrayals, the obstacles, or the disappointments that determine the outcome of your life. It is the decisions you make in the face of those realities. Too often, people blame their failures on enemies. They blame their lack of progress on the opposition they faced. They point to difficult people, unfair systems, or hostile circumstances and use them as justification for why they did not become what they were destined to be. But destiny is never handed over to your enemies. It is surrendered by your own decisions. Your enemies can create resistance, but they cannot control your will. I heard they can delay you, but they cannot defeat you unless you decide to give up. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to choose differently. You can choose to grow, to rise, to persevere, to adjust, or you can choose to retreat, to complain, to blame, and to shrink back. The decision is yours. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. You do not stumble into greatness, you choose your way into it. Every step you take either moves you closer to the life you were born to live or further away from it. Your decisions reveal your priorities. They expose what you truly believe about yourself, your purpose, and your future. You cannot claim to value destiny while making decisions that sabotage it. You cannot declare a desire for greatness and consistently choose convenience, comfort, and compromise. Your decisions preach louder than your words. They are the real evidence of what you are committed to becoming. It is easy to talk about dreams. It is easy to pray about purpose. But destiny demands decision-making. It demands the courage to choose differently than the crowd. It demands the discipline to say no to good things so you can say yes to the best things. It demands the strength to endure criticism, rejection, and loneliness when your decisions set you apart from the majority. Your destiny is too precious to be left to emotional reactions. It requires intentional, consistent, principle-driven decisions. The enemies you face are not as strong as the decisions you refuse to make. Fear will knock at your door, but you must decide whether to answer. Discouragement will whisper in your ear, but you must decide whether to listen. Temptation will offer you shortcuts, but you must decide whether to take them. Life will not always be fair, but you must decide whether to stay faithful. Every enemy you encounter is ultimately powerless if you make the right decisions in response. You must understand that destiny is not a destination you stumble upon. It is a road paved with decisions made when no one is watching. It is built on the small daily choices to honor your assignment, to protect your gift, to steward your time, to master your emotions, to align your life with purpose. The greatness you seek tomorrow is hidden in the decisions you make today. So do not be deceived. It is not the devil. It is not your haters. It is not your obstacles that hold your future hostage. It is your own choices. When you stand before God to account for your life, you will not be judged based on who attacked you. You will be judged based on how you decided to live despite the attacks. Your decisions, not your enemies, will tell the real story of your life. You hold the pen. You write the story. Choose wisely. The real tragedy in life is not death. It is not poverty, sickness, or failure. The real tragedy is the mismanagement of potential. It is the sight of a life that could have changed nations but was wasted on distractions. It is the sound of dreams that were never born because someone misused their time, their gifts, their opportunities. Potential, when mismanaged, becomes a silent funeral procession, carrying all the songs never sung, the books never written, the businesses never launched, and the lives never touched. Every human being enters the world pregnant with purpose. You were not born empty. You were born full of ideas, full of creativity, full of solutions, full of leadership, full of inventions the world has not yet seen. But potential does not manifest automatically. It must be cultivated, managed, and matured. Mismanagement happens when you neglect the seeds placed inside you, when you allow distractions, fear, procrastination, and comfort to choke your gift. Potential is a treasure, but it is a perishable treasure. If you do not use it, you lose it. The enemy's greatest strategy is not always destruction. Sometimes it is simply distraction. He does not have to destroy your life if he can get you to waste it. He does not have to steal your gift if he can convince you to ignore it. Wasted potential is the slow death of destiny. It is a tragedy greater than any external failure because it is self-inflicted. You cannot blame enemies, circumstances, or systems when it comes to the management of your potential. It is your responsibility, your stewardship, your assignment. There are many who will die full of unused treasure, and the graveyard will inherit their wealth. The cemeteries of the world are filled with unwritten books, unreleased music, unfinished inventions, unbuilt businesses, unreached people, and unfulfilled dreams. And it was not because those individuals were incapable. It was because they mismanaged what they carried. They delayed too long. They compromised too often. They feared too deeply. They waited for perfect conditions that never came. And while they waited, time moved forward and opportunities expired. Potential demands discipline. It demands urgency. It demands clarity. You must guard your potential like a sacred trust. Every decision you make is either nurturing it or wasting it. Every habit you form is either building your future or sabotaging it. Every moment you spend in fear, laziness, or distraction is a withdrawal from the account of your destiny. And when that account is empty, it will not matter how great your intentions were. Potential that is mismanaged will die unrealized. The tragedy is not that people lack dreams. It is that they lack the courage and the stewardship to bring those dreams into reality. They underestimate the cost of neglect. They fail to realize that every day lived without discipline, vision, and action is a day stolen from their future. Your potential was given to you to serve your generation. If you mismanage it, you do not just rob yourself. You rob everyone who was meant to be blessed through you. Life is not about how much you have been given. It is about how well you manage what you have. Some will do much with little. Others will waste much with plenty. The measure of your life will not be in what you were born with, but in what you did with what you were born with. You cannot afford to live casually with your potential. You cannot afford to treat your gift as common. You must take it seriously. You must guard it, you must sharpen it, you must invest in it, you must multiply it. The real tragedy is not dying. The real tragedy is dying without leaving behind the fullness of what you were sent to give. Mismanagement of potential is the silent tragedy that history mourns but rarely recognizes. You were sent to make a difference. You were sent to change the world. Do not let your life end with your music still inside you. Manage your potential. Protect your purpose. Maximize your life. Excuses are not harmless. Excuses are not neutral. Every excuse you make strengthens the enemy inside you. Every time you justify your failure to act, every time you rationalize your fear, every time you blame something or someone else for your lack of progress, you are feeding the internal enemy that seeks to keep you small, limited, and powerless. Excuses are the language of surrender. They are the vocabulary of defeat spoken long before any real battle begins. The most dangerous enemy you will ever face is not the one outside your door. It is the one that lives inside your mind. The enemy within is built on lies, fear, procrastination, and self-doubt. And the fuel that keeps this enemy alive is excuses. Excuses tell you that you can't. Excuses convince you that you shouldn't try. Excuses lull you into a life of comfort, mediocrity, and regret. They offer you a temporary relief from responsibility, but they demand a permanent sacrifice of your destiny. When you make an excuse, you are not just delaying action, you are giving permission to failure. You are allowing your internal weaknesses to take the throne of your life. You are handing over authority to fear, to laziness, to indecision. You are allowing your future to be negotiated away by the lies you tell yourself. No external enemy could ever be as destructive as an internal life filled with well-reasoned excuses. Excuses sound reasonable, they sound logical, they make you feel safe because they remove the burden of accountability. But what they really do is chain you to your past and strip you of the power to change. Every excuse you accept is a piece of territory surrendered on the battlefield of your mind. Every excuse you believe is a door closed to a new opportunity. And the more you excuse, the more you empower the part of you that was never meant to rule. You must recognize that the internal enemy is only as powerful as the excuses you give it. You are either empowering your destiny or empowering your defeat with every word you speak and every thought you entertain. If you believe you cannot, you won't. If you believe you are too late, you will be. If you believe the obstacles are too great, they will be. Not because they truly are, but because your excuses have blinded you to your ability to overcome. Greatness requires ownership. It demands that you stop hiding behind reasons and start confronting reality. Life will never be perfect. Circumstances will never be ideal. People will never fully support you. Time will never wait for you. If you are waiting for everything to line up before you act, you are making the greatest excuse of all. Action in the face of imperfection is what separates those who fulfill their purpose from those who merely dream about it. You must wage war against excuses. You must silence the inner voice that tells you later, maybe, I can't, it's too hard, I'm not ready. You must confront it with truth, that you are equipped, that you are called, that you have enough to start, that progress is born not from perfect conditions, but from courageous decisions. Excuses will fight to survive in your mind, but you must evict them without mercy. Your future depends on your ability to take responsibility. Responsibility kills excuses. Responsibility empowers the real you, the bold, creative, courageous, disciplined you to rise. And when that version of you takes charge, the internal enemy begins to lose its grip. Salute. Excuses are the silent assassins of destiny. They destroy not by force, but by consent. Stop giving your enemy permission to rule you. Stop empowering weakness with words of defeat. Stop surrendering your future for the comfort of a lie. Your life is too important. Your calling is too urgent. Your time is too precious. Decide today that excuses will no longer have a voice in your life. Starve the enemy within. Feed your faith. Act with courage. Live with purpose. Real transformation does not start with shouting at devils, casting out demons, or waging spiritual battles in the unseen realm. True transformation begins with self-mastery. Before you can conquer the spiritual atmosphere around you, you must first conquer the undisciplined habits within you. Before you can claim authority over powers and principalities, you must establish authority over your own thoughts, emotions, desires, and decisions. It is easier to blame spiritual forces than it is to confront the lack of discipline in your own life. But the truth remains. Transformation is not a matter of spiritual warfare alone. It is a matter of mastering yourself. The problem is not always the devil. Many times it is your inability to govern your own mind, to harness your own will, to manage your own appetites. No amount of prayer can replace the need for personal discipline. No amount of fasting can substitute for daily, intentional decision making. You can pray all day for a new life, but until you master yourself, you will sabotage every breakthrough you receive. Self-mastery is the foundation upon which all true transformation is built. Spiritual warfare has its place. There are real forces that oppose your destiny. But the first and greatest battlefield is internal. It is the war between your higher self and your lower desires. It is the battle between your vision and your comfort, between your calling and your cravings. You cannot cast out laziness. You cannot rebuke irresponsibility. You cannot bind immaturity. These must be conquered by decisions, disciplines, and habits forged through self-mastery. Transformation demands that you take responsibility for your life. It demands that you stop blaming spiritual enemies for what your own choices have produced. Many people spend their lives fighting shadows, never realizing that their greatest enemy is not the demon they are rebuking. It is the undisciplined life they are refusing to change. You cannot defeat on the altar what you are not willing to change in your habits. You cannot pray away character defects you refuse to confront. Self-mastery requires brutal honesty. You must be willing to see yourself without excuses. You must identify your weaknesses and address them with action, not just prayer. You must confront your tendencies toward procrastination, complacency, fear, anger, insecurity, or pride. Mastery does not happen by accident. It requires intentional focus. It requires daily self-examination and correction. It requires commitment to principles, even when emotions scream for compromise. You are not transformed by wishing. You are transformed by warring against yourself. Transformation requires a relentless commitment to growth, maturity, and excellence. It demands that you govern your mind, that you control what you meditate on, what you believe, what you confess. It demands that you discipline your body, that you make it your servant, not your master. It demands that you guard your heart, that you refuse to allow bitterness, fear, or jealousy to poison your spirit. Many people pray for God to change their circumstances while refusing to allow God to change their character. They want spiritual victory without personal responsibility, but heaven partners with those who are willing to master themselves. Heaven moves on behalf of those who govern their thoughts, who manage their time, who discipline their desires, who pursue excellence relentlessly. Your real warfare is not just in the heavens. It is in the arena of your daily decisions. Transformation is not a moment, it is a process. It is not an emotional experience, it is a disciplined life. It is not about how loud you pray, it is about how deeply you change. True transformation is not proven by the volume of your worship, but by the quality of your decisions when no one is watching. Master yourself, and you will master your destiny. It is not about how loud you pray, it is the most of your destiny. Rule your spirit and you will rule your future. Until you win the battle within, no battle outside will truly matter. Transformation begins not in the spirit realm alone, but in the mastery of yourself.